Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chantal Duyog. I am delighted to welcome all of you and honored to represent my school as well as raise my advocacy about political dynasties for this year's Global Cultural, Economic, and Health Summit. We know the fact that politics is composed of various activities linked with the governance of a particular area. However, we cannot deny the fact that politics is also a family affair and political dynasties prove it. Political dynasties are like chains that are composed of different family members and relatives that secure their positions and power in a certain place in order to carry on their legacies. For decades, prominent and powerful families have concentrated power among themselves and have dominated politics across the different nations, such as the Aquinos, Marcos, and Dutertes in the Philippines, the Bush in the United States of America, the Trudeaus in Canada, the Kims in North Korea, the Park in South Korea, the Chakris in Thailand, the Duvaliers in Haiti, the Salts in Saudi Arabia, the Castro brothers in Argentina, the Kenyatas in Kenya, the Le Pens in France, and the Lee dynasties in Singapore. I therefore stand here to advocate breaking these entrenched chains that have become rusty due to its long period of existence that eventually breed massive corruption, promote abuse of power and political violence, obstruct the exercise of democracy, and perpetuate poverty and underdevelopment. Political dynasties breed tremendous corruption as they embezzle money from the government, which they use to sustain their lavish lifestyles and to acquire their personal interest. It should be noted that during the almost 29 years of the Duvaliers' reign in Haiti, corruption was prevalent. François Duvalier stole money from various government offices and employed it to reward the authorities who showed loyalty to him, while his son, John Duvalier, was charged of corruption, theft, misappropriation of funds, and other anomalies during his regime. The Haitian and Swiss authorities tried to recover the stolen properties of the Duvalier family, which accumulated to $6 million. Corruption does not only revolve around corrupting money. Abusing their power for their personal gain is also included, such as the first female president of South Korea, Park Geun-hye, who became the first elected president to be impeached in her nation after being convicted of abuse of power, coercion, and bribery. The court found out that she coerced big companies such as Samsung and Lotte to give and donate millions of money to the established foundation of her friend Choi and her daughter. She was also found guilty of colluding with Choi and granting her access to confidential state documents. Political dynasties will deviate from the established laws just to carry on their legacies and to continue monopolizing their wealth and power, such as during election, if the candidates from political clans encounter a strong opponent, they resort in committing electoral fraud through either manipulating the votes of the public to attain their desired results or through reducing the votes of their rival, and handing out money or any type of goods to electors in exchange for support in the ballot. This practice, which is known as vote buying, is prevalent in Philippine elections. During the 1969 election, there was a rivalry in presidency between Sergio Osmeña Jr. and the patriarch of the political Marcos family, Ferdinand Marcos. Marcos defeated Osmeña through committing ballot snatching and vote buying and expended vast amounts of money in order for him to get re-elected as a president. In worst cases, dynasties threaten or exterminate any threats in their positions. The bloodiest media massacre that happened in the Philippines on November 23, 2009 was a product of the greediness for power of the political dynasty, the Ampatuans. Vice Governor Mangu Datu ran as governor to extinguish the two-decade rule of the Ampatuans, who are from a ruling political family in Maguindanao. Before going to the COMELEC to file his candidacy, Vice Governor Mangu Datu decided to stay at home due to the death threats he had been receiving and sent his wife and female relatives on his behalf, including media personnel and military, to guarantee their safety. However, The presence of media and soldiers failed to stop the Ampatuans in assassinating them. The attack killed a total of 58 people. 32 were journalists who were going to cover the filing of candidacy, 15 were Mangu Datu's relatives and supporters, 6 were passers-by or witnesses, 3 were lawyers and lawyers' dad, and 2 were drivers. 1 decade has passed before justice has prevailed after the Ampatuans were convicted of murder and was sentenced to reclusion perpetua or life sentence without parole. In North Korea, the Kim dynasty has dominated and ruled its nation since 1948 up to present time. In the regime of Kim Jong-un, 340 people were ordered to be executed. Among those killed were government officials, his relatives, and his half-brother Kim Jong-nam. Despite the fact that Kim Jong-nam has been living abroad for years and has no interest in politics, he was perceived as a potential opponent and a threat against President Kim Jong-un since he was the eldest son of the family and due to the criticisms he gave about the dictator's administration. He was assassinated by an agent at the airport in Malaysia on February 13, 2017 and was believed that his assassination was ordered by his younger brother. These atrocities committed by the officials from dynasties prove that political dynasties perpetuate political violence as they resort in doing heinous deeds just to eliminate those whom they deem as threats in their positions. Due to occurrence of political violence, the path toward a harmonious and peaceful community will be more challenging and difficult to obtain. The phenomena mentioned manifest the negligence of the democratic value and absence of real competition among politicians as it excludes others from establishing an equal access to opportunities for potentially good leaders and public servants who don't belong in dynasties. Consequently, democracy diminishes as the power is only centered on the oligarch's elite. The existence of political dynasties impede the emergence of proper checks and balances which are fundamental to the exercise of democracy, as each branch is being controlled by the other branches to balance and limit the power it holds and to prevent the abuse of power, as the officials who sit in public offices are related to them. Due to the absence of each system, the families successfully avoid the penalties of the anomalies they have committed, such as the issues that I have mentioned a while ago. A nation who continues to remain under the control of political dynasties are drowned in poverty and underdevelopment. Since they limit the officials who can take elective offices, the quality of government decreases as the leaders come from dynasties whose ways of governance are the same, therefore producing no change and a rotten system that results in an impoverished city and people. According to the 2012 first semester official provincial poverty statistics of the Philippines, the top 10 poorest provinces are ruled by political dynasties which are Lanao del Sur, Ifugao, Masbate, Sarangani, Apayao, Eastern Samar, Negros Oriental, Zamboanga del Norte, Maguindanao, and Davao Oriental. It was revealed that the families of these provinces have established the highest percentage of families who were unable to acquire a minimum monthly income of 7,820 pesos. Along with that, the quality of state rules are affected since the lawmakers from dynasties will take advantage of the power they hold through promulgating laws that are beneficial only for their personal interest. For instance, the former president of Haiti, François Duvalier, propagated an additional constitutional amendment which enabled him to pass his position to his son, John Duvalier. Hence, I propose Bill number 16 titled Anti-Political Dynasty Act. This bill is like a water purifier as it filters out the officials from dynasties who simultaneously run in a certain city or town and produces officials who have no impurities. To expound it, the incumbent's wife or relatives within the second civil degree of affinity who are the official's parents, children, grandparents, grandchildren, cousins, and in-laws, whether legitimate or illegitimate, will be prohibited to run for the same state position immediately after the incumbent's term or to hold position in the same city or town. Once passed into law, Anyone who violates it will be disqualified from running and will be sentenced to 5 years in jail. Altogether, we must always remind ourselves that political dynasties must be extinguished as it breeds tremendous corruption, promotes political violence and abuse of power, impedes the exercise of democracy, and perpetuates poverty and underdevelopment. With all the efforts to exert and the support to give, we, people, will successfully end this phenomenon. If you dream to have a better nation with better servants, then join me in breaking these chains. Thank you.